Hey guys, welcome to the Wolf of Landscaping YouTube channel. Today's topic is going to be new versus used trucks. And what I wanted to do today was really break down why I decided to buy new vehicles versus going with some used vehicles for my company when we started up this spring. So what I'll do is I'll show you a couple pictures of our vehicles now, and I'll kind of go over as well some lessons learned from the last company I had, and I think that'll be pretty interesting, give you guys a better idea of why, again, we buy new trucks. So to start, I'll tell you a little bit about the truck we bought this spring. So we bought a 2019 Ram 3500 gas 6.4 liter V8, regular cab with the 8-foot bed on it, and it's just a simple tradesman stripped down truck, nothing special, just the perfect workhorse. And it really does do the job for sure. The first part of this video is going to be about the different types of landscaping businesses and services that you guys can offer. And for us, our company, we do a lot of commercial design build as well as residential design build. But the biggest thing is commercial snow removal, and we do a lot of it for our company size. About 28 to 30% of our work is commercial snow, and so that's the big factor with when we look at vehicles. We want that reliability there. People say new trucks break down. Sure, you can get a lemon, something like that can happen, but it's way less likely than buying a $20,000 F350 that's got 200,000 miles and is a rust bucket. So that's one of the reasons that I just love buying new trucks. The reliability is there. You keep your crews moving, right? Breakdowns, they cost money. Every day, every minute a truck's down, it's costing you money. And so that's definitely another factor of it. And as well, especially when we're gearing up for snow and snowstorms are coming in, it's just that peace of mind. It's less stress on you because snowstorms are coming, you're a day out, one of your trucks won't start, you're pretty stressed out. You got to get to these accounts and get them cleared up. So that peace of mind is something that I think a lot of people take for granted, but having new trucks definitely gives you that. Now, I would say if you're just doing residential lawn maintenance, a little mulch here and there, and you're snow blowing driveways, yeah, you can get away with a used vehicle, and probably a pretty cheap one at that. $10,000-$15,000, and really $1,500 or 3/4 ton. Should do the trick. And if that breaks down, you can always just rent a vehicle for towing. Get one of the U-Haul pickups or go to an Enterprise or a local rental place. Those are easy fixes that won't cost you as much. But now if you're doing more like the design build, you're towing trailers with dirt and mulch and a lot of hardscaping, right? You got the bricks and you got all the paver base. You're gonna need a heavier duty truck, and they're a little bit more difficult to find when you go to a rental place. So with us having the new vehicles, they can tow more. They're usually better technology in them, but it's harder to find a 1-ton rental truck. So when we buy, we right now have a Ram 3500. I know when that truck goes into a supply yard, it's coming out with a full trailer. It's going to be able to handle the weight, and it's going to be able to get to the job site and keep the crews going with what they're trying to do. So again, if you do more like the commercial or the residential design build, you might want to look at getting newer vehicles. And I'm not saying buy every truck brand new, but definitely stay away from that $10,000 to $15,000 truck, because that will cost you money. Now, if you're doing a lot of commercial snow removal, again, like we do, newer the better, in my opinion. Again, all this is my opinion, but the lessons I've learned over the years, and working at other larger companies, pretty much they all buy new vehicles. And that's because one, the downtime, and two, they just don't want to spend money on repairs, and that's a big thing. Some of these trucks can just nickel and dime you to death. I know people on YouTube have talked about this, and one of the things is downtime. And some guys say downtime really doesn't cost you that much. Others say it costs a ton of money every day the truck's down. And in my experience and in my opinion, it's a lot of money. And why go through something like that? At the minimum, it's waste of payroll hours with guys standing around, not working, not being able to work, or being able to move on to the next job. But it can also be something more, you lose an account. Whether it's lawn mowing, which probably isn't that common, but with snow removal, it can be common to if your lots aren't cleaned up in time, they'll move on to someone else. The other thing is a lot of residential clients can get mad when your job's delayed a week because you can't find a truck to get the equipment there, and so you got to push it back, and that's costing you money. The way we work is every day we have to make X amount of dollars to pay for overhead and to have profit. And when the trucks are down, not making money. So the other thing, and again, this is more on snow removal, is the fact that especially with if you do apartments like we do, or office buildings, slip and falls are a major issue, and it's something that this industry has been putting up with for years. And we try to limit our liability as much as possible. And one of those ways to limit it is to having newer vehicles. That way, the accounts are getting cleared on time, and the buildings are good to go when clients, whether it's retail customers, start showing up, or employees start showing up. So one way that this can cost you dearly is in a slip and fall. Those claims can go from 10 to 15 grand to upwards of $100,000+. So I definitely think that's worth putting up with maybe a little bit of a higher payment, with your company. Again, kind of going back to that peace of mind, and as well as reducing your liability throughout the winter season. One argument I hear all the time is that new trucks cost more money, and they do, versus getting a $15,000 truck or a $35,000 truck. It's more money. But what people don't talk about are the interest rates are usually a lot higher on used vehicle auto loans. And, sometimes, especially with this economy, some automakers were doing, 0% or minimal interest rates on financing loans on new vehicles. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is you get a warranty. And these range from manufacturer, 60,000 miles or 5 years, whatever you may have. You got to look into that when you're looking to get the truck. But these can help with some of these repairs. I've seen $15,000 trucks just nickel and dime you to death. And like I said before, and it's just one thing after the other. And it might be $200 here, $500 here, but after 3 or 4 years of ownership, those add up, and that's a lot of money out the door. And the other thing, right, is a tax deduction. That's why a lot of times this time of year, you go to a dealership, whether it's new or used, and you buy a vehicle. Well, the cost of a new vehicle might be a little bit more, but it all Section 179 of the tax code to write off that entire vehicle this year. So that way it reduces your overall tax liability and can help you save a little bit of money there. So it's not like it's a waste of money because, it depreciates as soon as it rolls off the lot. You're still taking advantage of some of those numbers there. As I talked about in the first video, I used to have a landscaping company with a business partner, and it was in 2017, 2018. And we decided to go used. So we found a 2012 GMC 2500, and it had about 150,000 miles on it, and it was a diesel. That'd be a good truck. Everyone loves diesels. 150,000 miles really isn't that much on an engine like that. But, and we looked at all the offers it had. It had the snowplow prep. It was a stripped down work truck. It was no means fancy, any SLTs or whatever. It was a standard work truck with a diesel engine in it. And so I figured it'd be a pretty good buy having semi-low miles on it. So as soon as we hooked a plow up to it, and it had the plow prep from the dealer, but we hooked the plow up to it that winter, and we got about 4 or 5 snowstorms through, and then the electrical system was just shot. So, that cost a lot of money to do. Between, first of all, finding a vehicle to tow it with a plow on it, was an issue, and it was about a $500 tow. And on top of that, the repairs were over $3,500. The other thing, it was out for 3 weeks. It took 3 weeks to get this truck back. Now, luckily, we had no snowstorms throughout that time. But you want to talk about the cost of repairs, 35, almost $4,000 from towing and repairs and all that. On top of the 3 weeks out. Now, this was during the design build season. That would have been probably a $15,000 to $20,000 hit in overall profit, having that truck out for that amount of time. So definitely something to consider. Like I said, if you're doing like a lot of lawn care residential stuff, we have a small trailer, or even you just throw the stuff in the back of your bed, you can get away with going with a used truck. But if you're doing more heavy duty towing and a lot more winter work in the snow removal industry, you might want to consider going with a very lightly used or a brand new truck.